I'm not going to tell you I told you so, but People magazine is reporting that Porsha Williams has filed a divorce after only 15 months of being married to Simon Gobadia.
Who said that? Porsha Williams coming back to Real Housewives of Atlanta? That's false. But Porsha Gobadia is in the building. See y'all.
So according to People magazine, Porsha Williams and Simon Gobadia's marriage is coming to an end over a year after they tied the knot. The Real Housewives of Atlanta alum filed for divorce from Gobadia on Thursday in Atlanta, according to court documents obtained by People. So this divorce news is coming after it was revealed just a few days ago that Simon Gobadia was applying for U.S. citizenship and it was denied. It exposed his credit card fraud history, his ID fraud, and that his marriages weren't valid. I told you there was a reason Peace Juice was returned.
Remember Porsha Williams? She famously stood up for her man, advocating for high standards in partners. She advised that even the smallest red flag should prompt one to walk away. However, a recent incident might make Porsha reconsider her own advice. Porsha had previously praised her husband Simon for having no red flags.
Will the real Simon Gobadia please stand up? Because according to these court documents, Simon Gobadia applied for U.S. citizenship and was denied due to his criminal past. So you already know the history between Porsha Williams and Simon Gobadia, how they got together. He came on the show and he was married to Fallon Gobadia at the time, now Fallon Pena, and now she has a baby with that other man. You know the history. However, they've been together. She hasn't been on the show. She just announced that she's coming back to Real Housewives of Atlanta for season 16. According to our friends over at The Neighborhood Talk, they write this. They said court documents listed Simon's background as the reason for his citizenship denial. In August of 1982, he overstayed his visa. In September of 1987, he pleaded guilty to bank and credit card fraud, a felony offense. In January of 1989, he was arrested for unauthorized use of a vehicle, and in 1990, he was arrested for ID fraud. But he didn't stop.
But what if I told you his past resembles the shocking revelations seen in true crime TikToks? Stay tuned as we delve into Simon's past, revealing some jaw-dropping secrets that could change everything. Porsha confidently declared that her husband, Simon, had no red flags, emphasizing the importance of finding a partner with high standards. She advised that if someone shows red flags, one should leave. However, Porsha admitted that even the smallest red flag was not a deal breaker for her, as she believed they were not red flags for her. Now, let's uncover the truth about Simon. He has a history with the law, dating back to 1982 when he first arrived in the U.S. on a visitor's visa. He faced legal issues related to credit card fraud, leading to his voluntary departure in 1985. In 1987, Simon pleaded guilty to bank and credit card fraud, a felony offense. That's just the tip of the iceberg. In 1989, Simon was arrested for unauthorized use of a vehicle, followed by an arrest for ID fraud in 1990. He also faced issues with overstaying his visa and getting into trouble in 1991, leading to an order for deportation in 1992. When he was physically removed from the U.S. But Simon was determined to stay in the U.S. and even went as far as scamming his way back under a different identity through the Special Agricultural Workers SAW program.
You know the history. However, they've been together. She hasn't been on the show. She just announced that she's coming back to Real Housewives of Atlanta for season 16. According to our friends over at The Neighborhood Talk, they write this. They said court documents listed Simon's background as the reason for his citizenship denial. In August of 1982, he overstayed his visa. In September of 1987, he pleaded guilty to bank and credit card fraud, a felony offense.
But wait, there's more. Simon's track record raises serious concerns. He used a fake publicity firm to inflate his net worth, making it appear as though they verified his financial records. Additionally, his business website, which was supposed to showcase his thriving ventures, was merely a basic template with no real description of his work. It seems Simon was living in a world of assumptions, creating a facade that couldn't withstand scrutiny. Let's delve into the surprising details. By 2021, Simon reportedly had 21 liens, 9 judgments, and not one, but 2 loans from PNC Bank for his fancy Rolls Royces. But that's not all. He allegedly owed a significant sum in IRS back taxes and had filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy multiple times. In 2021, reports suggested he was heading for Chapter 11 bankruptcy again, this time for his restaurant and club, Simon's. It seems like his financial empire is built on shaky ground, with questionable financial practices. This information isn't some deep web secret. It's publicly available if you dig into the records. But before we uncover more about Simon's shady ventures, let's take a closer look at Porsha and Simon's relationship timeline. It all began in April 2021 when Simon and his ex-wife Fallon shocked everyone by announcing their divorce. Just a month later, Simon and Porsha revealed their engagement. While some might see this as moving at warp speed, the story gets even messier. Porsha and Simon weren't just a post-divorce fling. They had been seeing each other since at least September 2020, well before the divorce announcement. And that's not all. Porsha wasn't the only woman in the picture. Jessica Harris claimed she had also been dating Simon since March 2021. Simon allegedly told Jessica Harris that he wanted to get to know her more, hinting at a potential relationship once his divorce with Fallon was finalized. However, things took a turn when Porsha and Simon announced their engagement. Jessica Harris wasn't pleased and spoke out, sharing her side of the story. She recounted how Simon had taken her for a ride in his Ferrari, making promises of a future together, while seemingly juggling multiple relationships. Meanwhile, Porsha received a brand new Rolls-Royce from her fiancé Simon Alvish, $300,000, a gesture that made waves across social media. On the surface, it seemed like a dream gift, but let's delve deeper into this present. In 2022, Porsha proudly shared on Instagram her new ride, complete with an orange interior and a giant red bow. However, in August 2020, Simon's ex-wife Fallon posted a photo posing next to a Rolls-Royce with the exact same orange interior. This raised the question, did Simon give Porsha the same car he gifted Fallon? Simon insisted they were different cars, but the uncanny resemblance raised eyebrows. And let's not forget, these are the same cars tied to PNC bank loans in 2021. It's a complicated situation, and we've only scratched the surface. Court documents don't lie, and Simon's history is laid bare, revealing his criminal activities. Simon's troubled history dates back to 1982 when he first arrived in the US on a visitor's visa. Throughout the 80s and 90s, he was involved in a series of criminal activities, including arrests for credit card fraud, unauthorized vehicle use, and ID fraud. Simon was busy, but not in a good way. To break it down, Simon overstayed his visa, pleaded guilty to felony offenses, and faced deportation orders. His history reads like a suspense thriller, with courtroom drama that's far from over. Simon was determined to stay in the US and even scammed his way back under a different identity through the Special Agricultural Worker (SAW) program. As part of this program, his temporary resident status automatically converted to permanent resident status. Court documents reveal that Simon lied on his application, claiming he had a clean record. His recent attempts to gain US citizenship hit a roadblock. His 2016 naturalization attempt was rejected due to unlawfully granted permanent resident status. Despite filing again in 2020, he was denied once more for not being lawfully admitted for permanent residence. In 2023, Simon filed another complaint, asking the court to overturn the denial and grant him US citizenship. However, on January 11th of this year, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services was granted the right to dismiss the case. Porsha Williams' relationship with Simon Guobadia is over. The Real Housewives of Atlanta star has filed for divorce after 15 months of marriage. First things first, did Porsha know about Simon's rocky past? It's the question on everyone's mind, considering his legal issues and financial troubles. Some say ignorance is bliss, but in this case, it's a serious matter. Porsha has been vocal that Simon has no red flags, but the truth seems to say otherwise. Despite everything going on, Simon posted a picture on Instagram claiming he's doing fine. On the other hand, Porsha is back on Real Housewives of Atlanta. With Simon's legal issues, it wouldn't be surprising if Porsha is securing her own income. Reality TV often turns personal drama into storylines. And Porsha's return could mean she's ready to share her side of the story. It's not just about the drama, it could also be about financial stability amidst Simon's legal troubles. The upcoming season of Real Housewives of Atlanta is bound to be intense. What do you think? Will Porsha stick by Simon if he faces deportation, or is this the end of their relationship? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Find y'all partner. Keep your standards high, okay? And if it's someone that's showing red flags, just leave, okay? Period. I don't care. It could be the smallest red flag. You are not meant to fix them. Walk away. Because when I tell you, my husband didn't have red flags. He had red flags to other people. But to me, I knew they were not.
Porsha's previous declaration about her husband Simon having no red flags is seriously raising eyebrows now. In case you haven't caught up with the drama, Porsha's husband, a Nigerian businessman, Simon, has an extensive rap sheet. This whole saga feels like a season from TikTok's Who the F Did I Marry? And I'll get to the recent criminal record shortly. But before that, let me fill you in on how this man has been a liar, a cheater, and quite literally a walking red flag for years. Can you believe that? Simon used a fake publicity firm to lie about his net worth. The firm would post anything you sent them as long as you paid them. Simon utilized this scheme to deceive others about his net worth, making it seem as though the firm had verified it by checking his financial records. Additionally, revelations have shown that Simon's business website was merely a basic template with no real description of what he does for a living. His businesses appear to be a facade. By 2021, Simon reportedly had 21 liens, 9 judgments, and 2 loans from PNC Bank for his 2 Rolls-Royces. He allegedly owed a significant sum in IRS back taxes and had filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy multiple times. Simon faced a bankruptcy in 2014 when his businesses went under for $3.8 million. In 2021, there were reports suggesting he was likely filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy again, this time for his Simon Restaurant and Club. It's important to note that all this information is publicly available if you search the records. Given how these two got together and the numerous issues surrounding their relationship, it's not surprising to many that Porsha may have been aware of Simon's problems despite her claims that he had no red flags. Simon and his ex-wife Fallon announced their split in April 2021, and the following month, he and Porsha announced their engagement. What many people don't know is that Porsha and Simon had been involved since at least September 2020. However, Porsha wasn't the only person he was involved with. Around the time he announced the engagement, a woman named Jessica Harris revealed to the Jasmine brand that she had also been allegedly dating Simon since she met him in March 2021. Jessica said that through multiple text messages, Simon told her he wanted to get to know her more and left her with the impression that something could develop between them. He also suggested they could pursue an open relationship once his divorce was finalized. Jessica was taken aback when she learned about the engagement to Porsha, feeling deceived after their interactions, including rides in his Ferrari. Despite facing a lot of criticism at the time, Jessica Harris seemed to genuinely try to warn people about Simon's character, or lack thereof. She expressed her frustration, feeling that Simon was being hypocritical and fraudulent by talking about his wife on social media while engaging in similar behavior himself. Regarding the red flags, in 2022, Porsha proudly shared on Instagram about Simon giving her a $300,000 car as a present. She posted pictures of herself posing next to the vehicle, which had an orange interior and was decorated with a large red bow on the hood. Fans quickly recalled that back in August 2020, Simon's ex-wife, Fallon, had shared an Instagram photo of herself posing next to a Rolls-Royce with an orange interior. This raised the question, did Simon give Porsha the same car he gave Fallon? While Simon claimed he did not give them the same car, it was still strange that he gave both women a Rolls-Royce with the same interior. These are the same cars that had loan issues from PNC Bank in 2021. There's much more to this story. Simon appears to be a scammer through and through. with inconsistencies in his businesses, mansions, private jets, and other aspects of his life that he seemingly faked or exaggerated to present himself as a millionaire. Court documents have recently exposed Simon's criminal history, which dates back to 1982 when he first arrived in the country using a visitor's visa. After a series of issues with law enforcement, including credit card fraud, Simon voluntarily left the U.S. in 1985. His troubles with the law continued. In August 1982, he overstayed his visa. In September 1987, he pleaded guilty to bank and credit card fraud, a felony offense. In January 1989, he was arrested for unauthorized use of a vehicle, and in 1990, he was arrested for ID fraud. In 1991, after overstaying his visa, he faced legal issues again and was ordered to be deported. The following year, he was physically removed from the United States. Let's just say Simon was very determined to stay in the U.S., as he scammed his way back under a different identity through the Special Agricultural Worker (SAW) program. As part of the SAW immigration benefits, Simon's temporary resident status was automatically converted to permanent resident status following the waiting period. However, court documents reveal that he was successful because he lied on the application, stating that he was never arrested and had a clean record. All these shenanigans came to light during Simon's application for U.S. citizenship, which was previously denied twice. His initial attempt at naturalization in 2016 was rejected because his permanent resident status was unlawfully granted. He filed another application in 2020, only to face denial once more for not being lawfully admitted for permanent residence. Despite this, he filed another complaint in 2023 asking the court to vacate the denial and grant him U.S. citizenship. However, on January 11th of this year, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services was granted the right to dismiss the case. The court documents also noted that Simon's marriages have been a scam, as he's accused of faking a marriage to stay in the country. He was exposed by his previous wife, who stated they didn't live together and never consummated the marriage. Based on all this, the court concluded that Simon's permanent residency status achieved from his SAW benefits was not lawful for purposes of granting his application for naturalization. Without lawful permanent residency status, Simon's complaint fails to state a claim that he meets the eligibility requirements for naturalization. Therefore, Simon is likely to be deported again, as his permanent residency status was achieved through misrepresentations and omissions regarding his identity, criminal history, and other personal characteristics. As for Porsha, she probably knows that Simon is at risk of being investigated and deported, which is why she agreed to join Real Housewives of Atlanta again. Baby girl needs income that she can keep separate from Simon's income. They will definitely be giving other castmate storylines a run for their money on the show because there's no beating Simon's messy past. I highly doubt that Porsha will be joining him once he gets deported. What are your thoughts on Simon getting exposed? Do you think Porsha really did not know about all these publicly available details? What's your bet on how this relationship will play out after this? Sound off in the comments section below.